Jenny-Jaymes and our sidekick Christian Cano, partner in crime, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen's sidekick. Welcome to Two Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you soon. Good morning, everybody. It is Two Queers in the Truck time, and we are, I guess, Wednesday, September 27th, and so
27th.
27th already, and last Wednesday of the month, so we've already burned through September. So it's going like
God, we went through a whole month.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that this is the fourth show already. It doesn't, of course, we tape these a week in advance, and in this case, we're taping it 8 days in advance, and because of the scheduling conflicts, and so it's one of those weird things that we haven't taped at night in a long time.
Yeah.
So for people that say, hey, maybe we can notice it's a little darker than normal, at least on my end, but it's kind of weird when we shake this up, and but here we are, and it could be worse. So
yeah.
We're going to jump right into the first topic, which is Republican Susan Collins, which she's always tried to make herself kind of a moderate Republican, kind of went off on a weird tirade about the dress code of the Senate. So Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, a Democrat, has been trying to relax the dress code primarily for John Fetterman and his health issues. John Fetterman wears a very relaxed outfits, sweatpants, things of that nature. Typically does not wear a suit. And so sometimes when he's not feeling good, he's wearing very relaxed clothes. So he has to vote in the hallway of the Senate because he's not allowed. He's breaking dress decorum or whatever. Because the Senate's you're supposed to be wearing really fancy clothes, I guess, on the Senate floor. And so Susan Collins, your typical Republicans throwing a fit about something stupid, says, well, I'll just show up tomorrow in a bikini. Okay. Now, Susan Collins, she might look fine in a bikini. Odds are probably against it. But the fact that, okay, if you're upset on John Fetterman maybe wearing some nice sweatpants and a sweatsuit or a tracksuit or something like that on the floor, if that's the worst thing that happens in the Senate, they're gonna be okay. And I'm like you're not worried about MTG showing nudes of Hunter Biden. Y'all didn't censure her. Y'all didn't get upset about that. Or censure Boom Boom Boebert, for fondling the hog and the Beetlejuice thing, and they were both. There's video now of very good video footage of them both significantly doing some heavy petty. He's groping her boobs. She's reaching over and grabbing his genitalia. And explicit, you can see it. It's not. Because I guess they have security cameras in the theater, or somebody up high videotaped it or whatever, and it's not a gray area video, but more on that in section 2. But this whole much ado about nothing about you got the House Republicans threatening to shut down the government, and Susan Collins worried about dress codes.
Well, has anyone replied back and say, please wear a bikini?
Well, she retracted that. She said, I'm not going to shoot her. And she did clarify that.
Yeah.
but she just wanted to pop off. And
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I would say, well, I mean, if you really feel like it, just
Yeah.
knock yourself out.
If you think you can wear a bikini, go for it.
I mean, I'd love to see that debate. I think it would be funny as hell. But I think it's bizarre, and this is how far Republicans have fallen, that they literally can't. She's not worried about Supreme Court justices that they passed through under Trump that lied about Roe v. Wade and have just gutted Roe v. Wade. They're not worried about all the people that impeached and perjured themselves as SCOTUS justices under her watch that she passed through with no due diligence. But yet worried about dress code. I said, boo, maybe you should worry about your job.
But Jenny, how come he can't wear a suit?
I know that.
Have they said that? Have they said why or?
I know that his stroke and the things kind of affect his movement.
Okay.
I think that there is some psychological issues, and I mean, just a comfort level thing, and so they've just kind of tried to accommodate him a little bit.
Sure.
And I don't see it as that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I personally think, and corporate America has changed a lot about this too. I think, this isn't 1790 where they're wearing these big long coats and ruffles and pantyhose and powdered wigs, and maybe I wouldn't care if they go in and do their job. I don't care if they're wearing board shorts and a t-shirt. I honestly, that's not what's going to create respect for the Senate. What's going to create respect for the Senate is doing their jobs. And I think what we're losing sight is not so much that occasionally somebody like John Fetterman that is really struggling physically and as a result of his deal, but he does his job. Unlike an MTG or unlike I know they're in the House, by some of or even a Joe Manchin that's supposedly a Democrat, or the crazy Christian Cano that wears the Party City wigs. There's so many things that practically brain dead Mitch McConnell. I mean, if we're going to talk about things like that, maybe we should talk about the 19 mini strokes that Mitch McConnell's had in the last few months. Maybe I just feel like the dress code it feels like they're concentrating on something that if you were going to have a problem in the Senate, I don't know if that's necessarily it. I don't think that that's actually the downfall of the Senate. I just think there's so many bad things about the current Senate and the Senate's Trump was in power. The fact that they wouldn't even bring a SCOTUS appointment under the last year of Obama.
No, I completely agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's a silly thing, but at the same time, if it is such silly, if it is such a silly thing, then why didn't he just put a suit on? Then we wouldn't be talking about this, unless he medically can't, and then maybe they could keep the dress code but make medical exceptions, because then there wouldn't be anything for them to talk about.
I think the Republicans probably are trying to force an issue that's not an issue.
Okay.
And I think they're trying to. I agree. I just don't think the Senate. I just don't think the Republicans in the Senate are going to allow. It's like an all or nothing deal, and Chuck Schumer tried to navigate around it, and then they started making it a bigger deal. And so they finally just said, "We're just going to relax the dress code." That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little outdated anyway.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I agree with you. I think there should be an exemption for somebody struggling, just like
Mm-hmm.
you weren't supposed to wear any hats on the House floor or the
Yeah.
Senate floor. But when
Raskin. Yeah.
Raskin, you know, was going through
Yeah.
cancer, you know, he
Yeah.
was wearing a head covering, you know, for several reasons. And they made a big deal of it, and they were like,
Yeah.
stop it. You know, it's just ridiculous. And, you know, it just, I think some of this is just ticky tackness, you know, and
Yes.
mean spirited. I think,
Yeah.
I think if Fetterman was going in a half shirt and a thong,
Yeah. Or tank top, or or
yeah,
something that is not.
or like a
Yeah. Yeah.
see-through top
Sure. Yeah.
at hot, you know, hot pants, for
Yeah.
example.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody wants to see that. And there's
Yeah.
no medical reason to wear that.
Yeah.
But
But to wear
covered
something
up,
loose because he maybe can't get into a suit because if he has mobility issues, or as you said, it makes him feel comfortable because it is a long day. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I
he's got a
don't
lot
see
of,
what the issue is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so he's wearing. I think he's doing the best he can.
Yeah.
And speaking of people that don't do the best they can, over at part two. So you know, last week we talked about this. So the video
Yeah.
surfaced now, and it's been shared. I don't know how many millions of times all over Twitter. You can't hardly look on social media of any kind and not see the video of the fondling of each other. And again, I go back to all the groomers talk, all the but they shouldn't have drag shows in front of kids and all this stuff. Those kids in the row they're sitting in.
Yeah.
When they were having, you know, sex. I mean, they were literally. She was definitely. It was more than just more than just one little slap and tickle. They were both going in deep and fondling each other like two 14-year-olds in heat. And but when you talk about decorum, she's, you know, a congresswoman from that state. I mean, they're going in hard. I mean,
And it's not necessarily Democrats, Jenny. It's Republicans.
Republicans
Yeah. She was
scrambling.
dropped. Yeah, she was dropped from speaking at that youth Christian thing that she was invited to.
Oh yeah,
They dropped her from that, and then because all of it came out that he was a Democrat, because people start looking into who it was. He's a Democrat. He had drag shows at his brewery that he owned or whatever, and so she's broken up with him, or allegedly she's broken up with him. And she said, and when she broke up with him, she says, "I'll know better now. She'll know now to check someone's voter registration." So she's making. She's
trying to make it sound like it's all 100% him. But
exactly. And nothing with him.
You talk about reaching across the aisle.
Yeah.
This is the first time she's ever done that. But I guess it's just
that's a good one. I like that one.
But she was getting a whole. She may not have checked the voter registration, but she sure did check out a lot of things that the voter registration process don't check out.
That's true. Yeah.
She was practically playing doctor, and I mean, how his pants stayed on is beyond me. But she definitely was a two-way street grab-a-thon. It was not.
Yeah.
It wasn't just him grabbing. By far, in fact, if anything, I would say it was probably 60 or 70% her getting a hold of that log and working.
Because she was high. She was high on marijuana from vaping.
Yeah, there's no telling she was vaping in that pen.
Yeah, it had to have been.
Yeah. But we are up against our first break, and we'll be right back with more Two Queers in a Truck. Hey guys, I've got a special product out, and we've got a store under the name blueappliedtech.com, and you can go on our Etsy store, you can go on our social media, and you can check out our merchandise. We have some amazing snowflake Trump mugshot ornaments. We have mugs. We have pillow covers. We have a lot of cute stuff for the holiday season that you can buy. And it's great fun. And it goes to a good cause. It goes to my company, and it's helping us out getting started. And also, who doesn't want a historic snowflake Trump ornament?
Exactly.
This year.
That's funny. What's the name of it again?
And the name of the company is Blue, like the color blue, applied APPLIED Tech, like technology.
Blue Applied Tech. Ah, cool.
And so you can look us up. We have a website, but our stores on Etsy, and a lot of people use Etsy for different types of great gifts. They are assembled in the United States, so it creates American jobs. And most of all, it's a lot of fun, and they're not expensive.
Cool.
So,
Blue Applied Tech. Got it.
Correct. Come seek us out and buy some gifts.
Cool.
Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying there. So enjoy the Two Queers in the Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye, boo. Happy time. But yeah, they're that conservative youth event. Obviously, they're not going to want their keynote speaker to get more than a spoonful of loving. She was giving him the 5-finger discount. That was for sure. And,
so apparently, Jenny, if someone had filed a police report, she could have been prosecuted because what she did under Colorado law was considered obscenities. Yeah. And so, and that's what makes it the hypocrisy. But another thing is, she would never have admitted what she done, because remember, she lied. Yeah. She said, yeah. I didn't vape. I didn't vape. It was smoke. I don't know. It was, this, in her campaign. Only because those videos, and that's the reason video is so important, is because with Republicans, never believe what they tell you until you see it on video. Because the majority of the time they're lying, assuming you don't have the video. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things they, right from the get-go, no theater, no play or anything like that is really going to want to throw somebody out just because they're Republican. Exactly. I know what Bobert was trying to indicate was I was being targeted because I'm well known and I'm a Republican. No. And come to find out, like, no, you fucking you were just being trash. Lewd and lascivious behavior in public and in all ages event at that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like it was a 21 and up nightclub, vagina monologues, or some kind of something that was, a heavy hard R where there was no kids present, or something that was, like a burlesque show or something. It was not an adult setting. It was in a regular, theater for plays and live performances. It was Beetlejuice, which is a quasi kids movie from the late '80s. It was the live theater version of the movie, and it's fun. And Michael Keaton was the original one in it. It was a super cute movie. It's a Tim Burton movie, and probably one of his best ones. And so, you're not talking about something that was. And that's their big complaint against drag. It's their big complaint about what, transitioning kids is, blah, 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 and it's grooming. And then lo and behold, Lady Hands-A-Lot is. Hey, Jenny, I had read that the Denver TV station, that two of the anchors were talking about it. And one of them said, that this was a perfect example of what she is like when cameras are not on her. that this is an example of who she really is. So when you see cameras on her, she's faking it. This is how she is normally. And so that was their biggest argument, was that people were finally able to see who she is. And she is basically just a obnoxious, trashy kind of person. Yeah. And then Fox News, you know, this was bad because Fox News hadn't covered this, and they finally did the week that we're taping this. And the reporter said that they thought that the video came out really quickly. It only comes out very quickly when it's a Republican. When a Democrat does this, it takes a long time to come out. Well, that, first of all, that's not true. But secondly, the reason the videos come out so quickly is because we're so used to them lying, you have to correct them so quickly. Yeah. And so had she said, I was vaping, you know, I apologized, they wouldn't have said, oh, hold on a second. It wouldn't have come out that quickly.
Yeah, and if she wouldn't lied.
Exactly.
What's the date? You know, she got caught in a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
And she literally got caught red-handed. And
yeah.
You know, and so, you know, the moral to the story is, don't lie about it. If you're going to do something stupid in a public place,
yeah,
and you're big on being anti-LGBT, and you're screaming rumors all the time, and all this sanctimonious, you know, social battles. But don't be grabbing somebody's hog in all ages, you know. Live.
Hey, Jen, so Maddie caught remember the trash squad was Matthew Cawthorn, Laura Boebert, Matt Gaetz, and MTG. So now we just got to wait for the video for MTG and Matt Gaetz, and I assure you, one's going to come out.
Oh, it's out there. It's out there. Most likely, this was a Republican that recorded this.
Yeah, exactly.
They know. Republicans.
Yeah.
Boebert's going to lose the next election. She's that guy barely lost the last time, Adam Frisch, and she didn't have a chance of getting reelected. And you can see the wheels are coming off between her divorce and Crotchgate and all the other things that she's doing, and she's no value add. And the part of Colorado that she's in, it is conservative, but it's not a redneck mouth breathers.
Yeah.
Florida or Texas conservative district. It's almost a purple district, and honestly, she shouldn't have won this last cycle, and she's not going to. She's not going to hold Adam Frisch off. She's fire, and she knows it. So I think part of it is like she's just going, fuck it. You know, I got to find a new career. May not be speaking engagements to conservative youth rallies, but she's going to probably start up some kind of church or
she'll do something.
She'll have some new grift that she's going to do, but she's not long for the Congress. She's got about another 13, 14 months, and she's gone. Kudos to President Biden. This week that we're filming this, 5 Americans got returned back to American soil, thanks to Biden and his team, and spending pretty much his entire administration negotiating for these 5 Americans' release. They did a prisoner swap, and then we also released some frozen funds that we'd froze several years ago, and to bring 5 Americans home safely, and it was well worth it. These people were captured in the Trump administration, so they've been and Trump did nothing. He wouldn't, and and some Republicans are starting to whine about it a little bit because we did release their money back to them, money that we froze. In the grand scheme of things, it was about $6 billion. But quite frankly, the the money freezing and the oil embargoes from Iran, the only thing it really does is drive up prices. Not that effective. Obviously, it did deter them taking hostages. And
Well, I mean, also, Jenny, sorry to interrupt you, but there are restrictions on how they can spend the money. The United States has a say on how it can spend the money. Even though their Ayatollah guy said, we're going to spend this money however we want, he's saying that so that way his people don't kill him.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we didn't just go to their door and drop $6 billion on the counter.
No.
We said we have to sign off on any spending of that money. So it's still in American hands, but we have to sign off, and it can only go to like humanitarian, aid, certain kind of things or whatever. So when the Republicans say, well, you just gave, first of all, I think the first reply should be, how much is an American life worth?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be pro-life. I mean, how much is an American life worth? 500 million?
Well,
would that have been? Yeah.
Let's not forget that Reagan and Bush committed international crimes with Iran-Contra, trying to not only rig an election, which they did, but, trade guns and drugs and money involving, some Central American countries and Iran and a whole bunch of other things. Afghanistan, all kinds of crooked deals to get Americans freed that time too. And, we had Reagan not remembering anything and not recalling anything, which probably is semi-legitimate. And I'm sure Bush ran most of it because of his CIA background. But let's be real. We've had major scandals and trials where Republicans have just tried to do the sneaky.
Yeah.
But Reagan would say we're not going to negotiate with terrorists, and then got caught negotiating with terrorists and other really crooked shit. And so we're at least Biden did it through true diplomatic channels. Didn't have to do any hokey stuff, and did something that again that Trump left for Biden. Trump couldn't be bothered. Just like pulling back all of our troops out of Afghanistan. Motherfucker lets 5,000 of their Taliban leaders loose, but doesn't pour troops out. Now, that should have been reversed, is that we should have said, well, maybe we shouldn't let 5,000 of our best warriors and leaders out before we get out. Or maybe we don't let those 5,000 loose at all. The biggest single reason why Afghanistan fell that way is because of Trump and the malfeasance of how he handled it. And he did that in 2018. He could have pulled the troops in 2019, but he didn't. He kept putting it off because he didn't want to deal with it. And because if you're not there forever, and this is why we still have troops in Japan and Germany, 80 years later, almost a century later, we still have troops in our former enemies' countries, making sure they're on the clean and stable. And we were barely in Afghanistan, not even a full 2 decades. You're not going to create some kind of stable country in less than 20 years. It takes multiple generations, as it did with Japan and Germany and many other countries that we've occupied, to bring about stability in the region. But we're up against our second break, and we'll be right back with some more Two Queers in a Truck.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching us on Two Queers in a Truck. Don't forget, you can watch us anytime at your leisure on our video podcast platforms like Facebook and YouTube. But you can also listen to us, either this show or any of our past shows, on our audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and all of the other ones. So once again, thank you for watching Two Queers in a Truck. I hope you enjoy our show.
But they're mad because it was a huge win. That was a massive win for Biden. It shows how brilliant his team is, how brilliant his administration is. It shows that he gets things done as he he was saddled with so many Trump leftover problems between the vaccine rollout, a malfunctioning economy, millions upon millions of extra people unemployed, just a disaster of an economy. It was completely unstable. The Afghanistan withdrawal that he made as a campaign promise that he was going to do in his first term, he did not.
Yeah.
He didn't do any kind of form of infrastructure and just let American jobs go away. Biden has clawed back 800,000 jobs in the manufacturing sector since his Build Back Better and infrastructure and all that process, including high-tech manufacturing jobs like silicon chips manufacturing that we sorely need to be produced in the United States for many reasons, but among the biggest is all of our high-tech weapons, like the jet fighters and all that, function off those chips. And if your number one chip supplier is China and you get in a war with China, I'm pretty sure they're not going to ship us any more silicon chips. Yeah. Well, funny, if most of your chip production's overseas in China and Europe, we may be able to get more from Europe unless they're embroiled in the war too. But that could be a disaster. And again, Trump ran on infrastructure, never delivered, never tried, was more preoccupied with tax cuts. And it's again where Biden has done in less than a term more than probably the last three presidents combined. He's got a list of things that he's done. It's incredible how much he's done. And Biden keeps winning. And speaking of that, Biden lent support to the UAW on their strike. A lot of Republicans are calling foul that he shouldn't be supporting the UAW and striking. And Biden once again doubled down and said, no, I support labor movements. I support labor unions. He supports American workers. He's proven that in his policies, bringing back jobs, creating the best jobs president ever. Lowest unemployment in 60 plus years. Wages are up. And once again, we got a president that actually supports labor unions. And labor unions is what built our thriving middle class in the 50s, 60s, and 70s until Reagan and Bush all but dismantled them in 12 years. And once again, that's one of the reasons Republicans are mad. They don't want to see fairness in employment. They don't want to see a strong labor movement that helps people get the benefits and the wages that they so hardly deserve. And also, it doesn't hurt big business. If some of these big car companies can't pay these wages, it's weird how they can get cars. It's funny how General Motors' cars that are built in Europe get good wages. It's funny how
and they have unions there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so weird how Toyota, especially Toyota and Honda, can come in here and pay UAW wages and be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Every Honda Accord and every Honda Civic is built in the United States now. And it's been that way for a long time. And how they were able to pay wages, good paying wages, really good paying wages, and very livable wages. And how General Motors and Chrysler, which they got a new name because I guess they merged with Peugeot or some crap like that.
Yeah.
And Ford, and how they're upset. I'm like, well, maybe you should cut some of the management jobs. General Motors has had way too top heavy of a management for decades. Even H. Ross Perot talked about it in '92, and he said it's going to be the death of General Motors, and it was. Their labor's not what killed them, and it's top heavy on management that made really bad decisions, and they were paid way more in the labor. The people who actually were making the product were not making what. And this is the big American problem, is these companies having the frontline workers not getting paid the right amount of money, and the major stockholders that are also on the board or executives, executive pay has gotten way disproportionate with frontline worker pay. And it's what's killing these companies is you whether it's these banks or whatever, these CEOs all the way down to mid management are getting rich off slave labor and horrible wages. And you look at the ridiculous money that Walmart makes and what the trust fund babies that inherited the company from their dad make. Yet that Walmart doesn't pay frontline livable wages. They pay right above or right at minimum, and make billions. And it's insane. It's just insane. And we have to subsidize them with social programs. And it's just it's that's why labor movements are so popular right now. It's because of companies like Starbucks, Walmart, that literally steal from their employees. But more of a fun topic, aliens in Mexico. So this scientist, a Mexican scientist, presented what was supposedly 2 alien bodies in these little boxes that they uncovered that were, I guess, preserved in some kind of underground tomb or something, and presented them to the Congress of Mexico and claiming that they're aliens. Mm-hmm. Upon scientific review, the scientists did get to look at them, so that they're most likely not. But they look like little dolls. They look like little dolls with like some dirt on them, and they do look like aliens. They do look like really good manufactured aliens. They look like something.
So what have they said? What they were?
I don't know if the guy that presented them let them delve that deep, and I don't think they've quite figured out what it is. And there's been some reports, but there's been a ton of articles about aliens in Mexico now, and it's become kind of a phenomenon. And Twitter's been blowing up about it. I've seen that one news feed that you sent to me that now I get all these news articles from that you. There's about 20 articles on that thing alone in the last few weeks. This happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to get a life cycle and it was going to go away because because the pictures, they do look pretty contrived. They look pretty fake.
Yeah.
But this doctor insists they're real. Where he dug them up is legitimate, and it's turned into quite the telenovela, and I'm here for it. I mean, I'm hoping they're real. They look little bitty. They look like they're little magic munchkins from Mars or something. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great story. It's kind of a funny story because nobody's really getting hurt. This guy's making an outrageous claims. Religions have been based on fake artifacts and stuff like that. So for this guy he's giving it his all. He's selling, and I'm here for it. I mean, this guy, he is selling the concept, and the Mexican government isn't necessarily buying into it, but they are.
Yeah.
They have allowed him to present the evidence. They've allowed him to be heard, and I think part of it's because he could claim, well, they didn't let me testify to Congress, and I really and so I think to kind of kill his legitimacy, they did the smart thing, say, okay, just like we should do with Republicans, say you can't make another claim till you pull out the evidence.
Yeah,
pull up. Let's see.
Just call their bluff. Yeah, just call their bluff.
And,
all right.
Whether it's a bikini on the Senate floor or the pillow guy with a cell phone full of evidence that
got taken away.
Biden cheated, I think it's a great move by the Mexican government. They're pretty smart.
Yeah.
The Mexican government in the last 5 or 10 years has really played some issues internally and even internationally pretty smart. They've been really, really savvy. When Trump was saying, yeah, I'm gonna make Mexico pay for the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not, Haas. So just different things. They've done really, really a good job of either dismissing. They've codified women's right to accessing abortion and reproductive care this year. Yeah, they've really come a long way, and I believe it's one of those times that you can say what you want. At the end of the day, Mexico is a modern, efficient, honestly, a rising country. I think if we didn't do so much damage to them by getting them embroiled with a drug war that's really an us problem instead of their problem, they'd be doing so much better. But this alien story to me, is just,
one of the. I was going to tell you, 6 days ago, apparently these figures were found in Peru, allegedly.
Yeah.
In 2017, and he's a journalist that presented these. And the people that are looking at him say that the DNA does prove that they're not human. So he's saying that it's whatever. But they're saying that it looks like someone just put glue and stuff and made it look old. And so they just say that it doesn't make any logical sense because why would they have glue? They're doing like testing and stuff like that. So it's very unlikely, they said, that they're actually extraterrestrial beings, and more likely that they're just a doll.
Yeah. And he uncovered these things, at that famous site in Peru where you only can see the carving in the hills from spaceships. So it's an area that's synonymous in South America with alleged ancient alien activity. And so his story fits the legend.
Yes. Yeah.
But the legend's never been proven either. And
exactly.
Even it makes sense that you'd have to have some kind of flying machine to be able to guide people to do these drawings that are massive, these carvings in these fields and mountains and all this. So it's not inconceivable that some kind of technologically advanced, whether it was a long lost civilization here on planet Earth, that was a lost technology, just kind of like the Romans. We lost the ability to make Roman concrete. And we lost the secret recipe that nobody kept it out of the fires in Rome. And hey, in the Middle Ages, all of a sudden we couldn't make concrete anymore, and they still can't completely duplicate Roman concrete. It's like the hardest concrete ever, and so there's a lot of things that technologically the ancient world had more advanced things than we realize.
Yeah,
but at the same time, was it aliens? Was it just Earthlings that just figured out the secret sauce really fast? I mean, you look at the United States, look how far we came in the last 100 years. We went from horse-drawn, carriages to now where we got jet fighters and spaceships, and we're planning to go to Mars and the moon again, and just all kinds of stuff. And who would have thought maybe 120 years past the buggy and carriage and mostly agricultural country, all of a sudden now we got all these technologies and self-driving cars and just all these amazing computers and iPads and Google machines. And so it's not far-fetched that a civilization did a leap and then a fallback. I think it's more likely than aliens. But if they would have sold it as aliens too, I'm here for it. Who tried. I think the story's great. I think the story's cute, and I think in this world of crazy shit that's going on in the Ukraine and wars and famine and death and destruction. Sometimes we need a little humor, a little cutesy thing, and maybe in a way, maybe this guy just wanted to bring a little levity to the world, and and maybe at the end of the day, I don't think anything should happen to him for trying.
Yeah, I agree, Jenny. I would rather have.
It's a very peachy showmanship thing. And to me, it's maybe even you could consider it a harmless prank on the Mexican government. I don't think they're going to press charges on him, and I don't think they're interested in harming him or arresting him or anything. I think it's.
I would rather have a year of National Enquirer stuff like this than another year of MAGA people and anti-trans, anti-LGBT stuff.
Oh,
I would rather have. I would rather have a year of, like you say, P.T. Barnum kind of. That can't be true. I would rather have a year of that than the current craziness that we have.
Yeah, I'd rather some dude, some college professor or some journalist, bring up pictures of the chupacabra or Bigfoot or
Bigfoot, exactly.
Something, to me that would be way funnier. It'd be way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then some of this hijinks and spineless Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
Instead of passing a budget, is worried about prosecuting Biden on fake charges of whatever. And what a bad timing, and you see other countries getting it right. You see other countries that when it's time to get down to business, they take care of business. And we see our shit show, and we could take notes from a lot of different countries, and we could really. The one thing that I really believe is that America's believed their own bullshit for too long. Oh, if you don't like it here and you like it over there and you think they're so great, just move there kind of bullshit. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you don't think there's not room for improvement, that we can love our country but still want better. I think that's part of the American dream. I think when people talk about the American dream, it was always, hey, I want the next generation to do better than I did.
Yeah.
But you can't do better if you don't say this and this needs to be fixed. I don't think I think when you say there's room for improvement, it doesn't mean that I don't like what we have now. But it wouldn't hurt to have cleaner air. It wouldn't hurt to have cleaner water, drinkable water, pesky little things like that. I don't really like seeing 14-year-olds working in slaughterhouses. I don't, there's just some things that I don't like seeing people of color getting shot by the police for no reason. It doesn't mean that I hate the cops. But do I hate that? Yeah. I mean, how can you not? And people can call it whatever they want, but at the end of the day, one, we should have a little bit more levity like that. And two, we need to always strive to do better. And do better for everybody, not just millionaires and billionaires. And I think that's the big moral to the story, is that our system should not favor just one class of people when they're a teeny tiny minority of Americans. And the other 99%, if you want to put America first, it means you can't defend billionaires and millionaires a lot. Real American first is helping the poorest of the poor and striving to end poverty. That's when I'll believe America first, because that's real America, is our poorest and most vulnerable, not Elon Musk or any other ridiculous billionaires that are just a fucking clown shit show. But that's all we have. That was our last section, and I've ran out of alien stories, and I don't have any chupacabras ones this week, but I might dig one out. Never know. Stay tuned, and we will see you next week with some more Two Queers in a Track. Bye,
in October. Wow.
In October. Bye, boo. Yep. Hey, y'all, thanks for watching us all summer long. And it'll be, when you see this episode, it'll be the official beginning of fall. And then our next episode will be the first week of October. So see you in the spooky season. And we'll be well on our way to Happy Halloween. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching Two Queers in a Truck. And Christian and I just blathering on about craziness in the world today. Y'all be safe out there. There is a lot of Republicans on the road.
That's right.
Have a good week. Bye.